There we go. Brad Collins versus Elijah Chambers. The main event of Strike. Elijah dodging. And now we're going to chain wrestling, because of course we do. It's worth noting that despite obviously Brad being the one who had the the bigger win out of these two men on Road to Glory, that Elijah didn't. Elijah came with his own accomplishment, being the only one of the Chambers brothers to actually pick up a win at Road to Glory, picking up the win in very dominant fashion against Aaron Matthews. As we go into more chain wrestling, Elijah truly been on a tear recently, starting to look like one of the biggest threats on Strike. And you've got to give it to his mentality. People would have thought that maybe he would have let his performances slide after losing the #1 contenders match all the way back at Rules of the Ring against Francis Sharp, but he didn't allow that to stop him. He failed to qualify for the Road to Glory ladder match as well, and besides that, he also kept going, and he just kept getting wins under his belt, silently chugging along, getting a great run of form on. And clearly it's proving itself to be noticeable now, with Strike GM booking him against the world champion of the brand, Brad Collins, who of course became All-Star champion after a title switch between him and Michael Shaw for their titles, as they were both traded to the opposite brands. Because of course it was actually Michael Shaw who won the All-Star Championship at Road to Glory against Elijah's brother Shawn Chambers in the first ever match for the belt. And Elijah going for the pin. 1, 2, kick out at 2 from Brad. And Elijah already busting Brad open. Brad seeming to struggle with the intensity of Elijah here. Elijah not shying away either. He did not care that Brad came in through that entrance, carrying that title, the top prize in Strike. He does not care, and he's still trying to give it the best he can to the champ. 1, and a kick out at 1 from Brad Collins. And now Elijah stalking Brad. And Brad reversing into a clothesline. And Brad trying his best to bust open Elijah in return, but Elijah is not busted open. And now Brad showing some of that power that won him the MCW World Championship at Road to Glory. But Elijah still catching Brad by surprise, goes for another coffin drop and lands it. Brad really struggling against the Undead Omen tonight. Elijah just seeming to assert dominance over the champ here. Could Elijah be going down the similar path that Marty ended up going on Clash not too long ago, where he managed to pick up a shock victory against Max Black, one that no one expected, and managed to earn himself a title shot through those means? Brad's got Elijah up high, and he goes for a power bomb. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, and Elijah kicks out at 2. Now Brad trying to get back into this match now. Trying to regain the momentum and try and not be caught so off guard like he has been for most of this matchup. And a diving crossbody from the second rope. Not normally the most brutal of moves, but when it's from a guy that's the size of Brad Collins, it must hurt. And a Superman punch from Elijah. Brad pushing Elijah off now. Elijah rolling out the way. A very fast neck breaker from Brad, who picks up Elijah. Elijah catching the punch. Throwing Brad against the ropes now. And a spine buster as he now goes for the pin on the champ. 1, 2, And a kick out at 2 from Brad Collins, the champion not making it easy for Elijah. Elijah for that cutter. Gonna go for the pin again. Could this be it for Brad? 1, 2, and Brad kicks out again. This is what makes Brad champion material. He might not be the most flashy in-ring performer that we have. You know, he might not be a man who puts on a 5-star classic, you know, every week. But the one thing is for certain that Brad has resilience. He has that fight in him. And that's what you need from a champion. Dodging the knee and now dropping a drop kick to Elijah. Now stalking Elijah from behind. And a clothesline from hell. The same move that won him the world title at Road to Glory. Can it do it again? 1, 2, 3. And it does. Brad Collins showing why he is the world champion. And that a change of scenery at Strike does not change that he is a worthy champion. But again, another match where, despite the defeat, Elijah has proved that he can hang with the best. Fight night will be a tough choice. I actually disagree. I think this clears Luna and Santana. It was Luna and Santana before this. This clears it, in my opinion. This was a lot better. But I think that's just because of, like, the story behind it. I think Luna and Santana would have always been a little bit limited because there's no story elements to it. Because obviously both people have just come into the company. Whereas, like, this is, like, a big thing of, like, it solidifies Elijah's rise through the card that he's been on. And also it solidifies Brad as, like, why he is the top guy right now. But to be fair, Strike match of the night is not up to me anyway. That's up to John and Sean. So John and Sean, if you're still watching, have a little discussion in admin chat about who you guys reckon will be match of the night and performer of the night. Because that is your job. Muggy I thought Elijah was going to steam. It did seem like that. That's why I think it's actually